Hey everybody, I'm Garrett MagEee.
And I'm James DeSantis.
And we are today's Men of the Hour.
Now in today's time, there is certainly a job that exists for just about everything, and that includes boutique landscaping for your backyard. Garrett, James, and I are diving into a candid conversation about all the benefits that come along with taking great care of your home, and how these two guys knew exactly what they wanted when they started their manscaping careers.
I gotta start with the loaded question of the year as to how the both of you are doing and how you've been handling the year of 2020.
Mixed reviews. I mean, we were together a lot this summer because we were promoting our show. I was in New York for most of the summer, so that was good. But we didn't see each other for like 5 months, probably, something like that, which I think is the longest we've ever gone, probably, as in our friendship.
I would say for about 3 of those months, we didn't see anyone.
Yeah, true.
Quarantine.
But yeah, I was gonna say that's what it is, right? Like 5 months, 6 months. We're like almost 6 months into, this worldwide pandemics that everybody's going through now. And at this point, I mean, you guys have been doing so much work for Bravo and the show that you guys, which I love. But to take your career that you both have been doing and to do it for so long and go through production, and then boom, this pandemic had happened. So once everything kind of hit in March, what have you guys been up to, from now until then?
Oh my God, so much. I feel like it was at the beginning of the year, which I feel like I can't even remember that part anymore. And then COVID happened in March. Then it was like pause everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not a very good stay inside person. It's just like not who I am. So I started doing a lot of gardening in Mel's backyard, which is basically our other business partner who, where the business started pretty much. I was doing a lot of gardening back there, trying to do things that were safe, social distancing, where I wasn't around people. And slowly as things have opened up, we've started working a lot more, but like everything around the TV show has been so different than what it was for season 1. It's like last year we were like ringing in the NASDAQ bell in Times Square.
Yeah.
And this year we've been like doing this, a lot of Zoom interviews from our living room.
I mean, we'd typically be like in a studio with you right now. So obviously that's changed, but I think people are used to the Zoom by now, aren't they?
Right.
Because we're all coming from our own homes now, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like it's two of the extremes. Either you get a really professional studio to do these types of interviews, or you get you guys chilling in your house. So we get a little bit of an inside look as to where you guys are living and how you're living.
Pants on.
I'll say the same. No.
So I'm fine with this. Like, this is great. Totally fine.
I think it's allowed for a lot of flexibility too, but let's reel it back really quickly. So I know it was a year ago, Garrett, but I gotta say congratulations on the engagement. You were just now, around the time that we're doing this interview, able to announce and publish the photos out that you and Andrew had been, you're engaged, and this is a year down the road, but essentially this is like a lifelong commitment. So no matter when you make the announcement, it's still a pretty big deal. I can't believe it was a year later after you'd started producing with Backyard Envy.
I know, it's really crazy because we were shooting up until September of last year, and I proposed in August, and everyone from Bravo was like, you got to keep it quiet, you got to keep it hush. And I was like, okay, so we can't tell anyone. And then they were like, well, as long as you don't release the photos from the TV show of the actual proposal, we can talk about it. So they released it to People magazine, and we were able to tell all our friends and everything. But since then, we basically had to keep it kind of quiet on social media. So now 1 year later, now that the finale's finally aired, we're able to talk about it a lot more.
No, that's great. Congratulations again. But for the both of you, got to ask, when you're dealing with the reality show world, and when you consider the little time that you even have to consider bringing someone intimate into your life, where has dating kind of sat in both of your worlds? And James, we'll start with you now. But when you think about dating and bringing someone intimate into your life, but also having this like whole business behind boutique landscaping, and now you have the whole Bravo show, where does that person then fit into your life and your schedule?
So my last relationship, we actually filmed a lot in season 2, and then we broke up, and Bravo actually decided to cut him out, which was great. So I don't have to relive that relationship, which is really funny. But it's kind of weird because the way it's like edited, I seem like there's sort of these storylines that existed with him in it, and they used them. And anyway, it's just getting too deep into the show, but it made it kind of weird. But I'm happy in the long run because now I've been with someone for almost a year in LA. And if we have a third season, he's like, I get it. Like, you're on TV. I know that I'll probably have to be on it. And he's fine with that.
Wish we could do that in real life?
What?
Don't you wish we could do that in real life? Just edit them out.
Yeah, just edit him out. I know, right? I'm like, oh my God. No, it was great. But then I saw him for like one quick second in the finale, and I was like, oh, that was weird. But yeah, he was in it for like once. My ex-boyfriend, but my new boyfriend is, well, not new. It's been a year. He's on board and he's down. Does that answer your question?
Totally does, because you just let us know that the person that you date can then come into your professional life as a, this now reality star, really. You guys, Backyard Envy is doing so well on Bravo, and essentially you guys have to bring your personal lives to the table when you start producing the content, and as long as the person's on board, right? I'm sure Andrew's on board too, right, Garrett?
I mean, he was forced to be on board. No, he's been very, very supportive. It has been challenging, and it's something we even talked about on the TV show, that it's very hard to juggle having a business, having two friends as your business partners, and having a boyfriend, well, now fiance, and trying to just balance that life is very difficult because it's. James knows it's like we've been married for like 6 years already. So having Andrew, so Andrew, sometimes it's like I really have to dedicate time to make sure that our relationship is good. And then adding the TV show to our relationship was just a whole nother thing. So, and it was also really different because Season 1, we didn't have so much of our personal lives part of the show, but now in Season 2, there's so much more of our personal life. And the idea of proposing to my boyfriend, if you had asked me to do that a year or 2 years ago, I would have said, no way. And then somehow it felt right last summer. I was like, okay, let's do it. So now watching it back, I'm glad we did it because we'll have that now forever to watch. But it was strange. It was very strange to watch it back on TV.
I would say too, when you work in show business, that's a lot of what it entails is you have to bring your personal life to the table, like I'd said, or you have to adjust accordingly. And I'm sure the both of you had to do that with your relationships, but now more on you individually though, James and Garrett, for each of you now, when you think of we see this as fans of the show and as fans of both of you, which I am. Something that I madly respect about the both of you is that you always have brought throughout both seasons, I'm sure, and then going forward, hopefully more seasons to come with the show and then beyond with your business. When you bring your authentic and your vulnerable self to a show like this and people can then see that, that's something that is very difficult to do, especially in the world of entertainment, let alone regular life. So people who might be struggling with that, what would you say to them, whether they're fans or not of the show, anybody who might be struggling with, becoming and growing into this vulnerable, authentic self of who they are deep down, whether or not they're in front of a camera or not, what would you guys say to that? James, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, personally, I've been having a very difficult time this season, actually. And even watching it back, I was not in a great place last summer. I was very, sort of undecided with what I wanted to do with my life. And I let that all hang out on television. And sometimes I think a little bit too much. I've gotten, some people have been a little nasty with comments and oh, you seem so miserable. You were so fun before. And it's like, well, this is a reality show. And it was tracking my reality at that time. It may have been one or 2 bad days, but it's like magnified over like 3 episodes. And we also leaned into it because, you know, we did know that we were opening this LA office, and it was something that I really wanted to do. And, you know, we really amped it up a little bit on the cameras. So, but it was hard to watch because it really was reality. So I would say, to answer the question though, you know, I don't regret being that way. Like, I don't regret that I actually showed my true self and what I was actually feeling, because it brought me to where I am today. Like, I'm living in LA. We have a successful office opened here. I'm much happier. We're doing a great job, like, with LA, New York. I found the person I'm really meant to be with and like in love with out here. And it was only because I literally was like, I'm not happy in New York, and I'm not happy with with this version of what I'm doing here, and I need to change it. Even though it was, you know, I didn't leave the show, I didn't leave the business, but it was just changing the reality for me. It was hard to do. So I've been facing that a little bit, sort of reliving it, and people seeing it, and it's been interesting. But I've had great partners that are like, yeah, if you want to do that, you can do that. We'll always make this work. And then a global pandemic happened, and we all had to be separated anyway. So
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, being in front of the camera, it's strange, and us having this reality show platform, it's like, it's almost weirdly like forcing you into some sort of therapy. Like, I didn't realize how I'm really not very confrontational, and the producers would push me really hard. They would say, like, you haven't resolved that issue. You need to make sure that you go back and you talk to that person, say exactly what you're thinking, and really pushed me to do things out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I've taken things from that I think are really good. And also, like, I've just found that sometimes the more that you think that the more that I get in my head that I'm like, oh, I'm doing something that's really funny, or I'm like, I'm going to do this for the camera. And then I realize when I watch it back that none of that was used. It's all the stuff that you never thought that anyone was paying attention to. Those are the parts they use. So it just shows in the end, it's like, don't try to like perform, just be yourself, because in the end, that's what they're going to use, is the stuff that you never thought was part of your character performance.
Meanwhile, Garrett's non-confrontational, and I am too confrontational. It's like,
but that's why I think it's lasted as long as it has between the two of you as business partners, right? Like, you have to have the extreme of one and then the extreme of the other in order to actually have the balance. Some people think, and the two of you can argue this with me all you want, some people think it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 100-100.
True. But you know what? Garrett's confrontation and his attitude gets cut out of the show somehow. I swear to God, they edit him into this like perfect person. I'm like, in the last episode though, he like had a little moment. I was like, oh, thank God it's not me again. It was like, oh, I can't handle another week of this.
Well, also it's I feel like not on the TV show, like just in normal life, it works great, our relationship, because there'll be times that I'm like, James, this client, I can't do it. I'm like, I'm gonna freak out and be like, you're like, I got you. I'm gonna tell them. Like,
do that to me every day.
Because that's what happens in a work relationship. I feel like you have to have the other person balance you out so well enough to where you guys can just lean on each other and kind of do the seesaw effect of like, I'm struggling, okay, but I got you, you know, and then I'm pissed off, all right, but I'm going to make you mellow. And I'm going to make you feel a little happy again. And that's something that we've seen throughout the show with the two of you and Mel, of course. But it's like, that's something I love the fact that the both of you bring up how realistic you are in the reality show, because that's not something that we see often in not only a Bravo show, but a lot of reality shows nowadays are very played up and very produced heavily on the drama, whereas the two of you are starting to find that as you're producing the show, it's almost along the way that you're finding a little bit more about yourself and where your struggles might have been and where you're being a little bit more vulnerable. So where can you kind of tell us how that journey is discovered throughout the show you know, especially because lenses are on you all day. I don't ever want to do that. I have one little lens right here, and that's all I need. But the two of you have like a whole production staff and all these people just constantly telling you what to say and what to do. But then aren't you really kind of living the reality of what you guys get to do as boutique landscapers throughout the whole show too?
Yeah, I mean, they do very little producing with us. I mean, as far as what Garrett was saying about he had a confrontation that wasn't resolved, it was about an employee. And I ended up having to have the confrontation on camera.
Oh, James did a great job.
Yeah. Got attacked for that also, actually. I can never win.
I sided with you, I thought.
Just listen, James, turn off the notifications. And
the notifications are off. Everything is off. I don't want to compare myself to Miley Cyrus, but she was on Joe Rogan and she was like, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you don't look at, what you're not trying to, it comes to you. No matter what, it comes to you. The comments come, you just see them. I don't know, I don't look at Twitter, I don't look at anything. But somehow they pop up. I don't know. It's very weird. But you're right, shut the notifications off. Anyway, yeah, I think, what was the question again?
That's how you know we're having a good time. James, I told you should have grabbed a drink, man. But when you guys think about the journey you have in a reality show production and how much you really find out about yourself and probably discovering more about yourself throughout the production, is that true? And have you guys both been able to do that?
Well, go ahead, sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say one of the hardest parts about shooting the show and living our lives and our reality is like, it was very challenging to really be doing a job and then also having to talk through every single thing that we're doing and then also be, talking about things like, again, confronting these issues that we're having within the business and with each other. And it was, because sometimes it's like you go to work and you're planting and you're doing, a job and you really just want to focus on that. You just want to focus on that job at hand. But when you throw in the fact that we are doing a TV show and it's like, wait a minute, you were having an issue with Mel the other day. Are you going to talk to her about it? And then it's like, oh God, okay, we got to do this too. So for me, that was really challenging to be able to be working and doing like all the other parts that go along with that.
Which for me, that's the fun part, because I'd rather be shit talking on television than giving calls. Like, oh, we get to gossip about each other right now? Okay, cool. Oh, you're gonna make me plant this plant? Okay.
All right, time to take a quick beat from this incredible conversation and give you a proud sponsored message from our partners of this episode, Cosmic Green Candles. They're a Massachusetts-based candle company that believes that it's all about the vibe and staying environmentally friendly as you light your candles. Now, that's from their wood wicks to their soy wax that they use. Everything is all about what they believe in, which is staying sustainably friendly and making sure that you enjoy every single candle. Two of my favorite candles from Cosmic Green Candles is Sweater Weather and Santa's Workshop, both of which burn really slow and they light the room up and smell so good so quickly. I think they are the perfect stocking stuffers for your loved ones this holiday season. I promise they smell so good, and the best part is when you're burning the soy wax inside, it is so friendly to the environment for all of us as it's not releasing any negative toxins into the air. Cosmic Green Candles supports reforestation as well, so every one candle that you buy, they plant one tree with the One Tree Planted campaign as their reinforcement to their mission, which is to be sure that they are protecting our planet as we burn our candles and enjoy them. For some of the best candles out there that smell so good and that are so friendly to our environment, be sure to head to cosmicgreencandles.com and just use the code CandleSeason20 for 20% off your entire order. That's cosmicgreencandles.com, 20% off with the code CandleSeason. Let's get back to the episode, and I encourage you to buy a candle or two for a loved one this year as you're tuning in.
Let's talk more about the plants then. I love that because that's again why the two of you work. In addition to Mel, the two of you work out because here Garrett is talking about how he loves the fact that he gets to do his live, work on the plant setup and everything. And James is like, no, let's go shit talk about each other and make some TV happen. But when it comes to landscaping, I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching this right now don't necessarily invest as much time and effort into their homes, let alone their backyards. Personally, I don't have a backyard. Okay, Garrett, I know you're in Brooklyn. You have a really gorgeous backyard. I'm in the city. I can't do that. A lot of us who are in the city can't, but anybody else who doesn't have a backyard or people who are just kind of discovering what it might mean to make up their homes and treat it really great and make it a sense of well-being for them. Where have you guys found the benefits either in yourselves or your clients when it comes to really like making up your home so that it's this beautiful place to, wake up and go to sleep in?
I mean, my very first garden was a fire escape. So you can really make a garden almost anywhere. And even
note taken.
Even inside my apartment, it's like I probably have too many plants. Andrew gets mad at me every time I bring another plant home. But I mean, just having one or two plants, I feel like can change the total vibe of your apartment. And if you have a backyard space, which is amazing for you, but you don't have to concentrate on the full thing. We always say like figure out like one small area to concentrate on first. Maybe it's just that patio off the back door and put a table, put one large plant. You don't have to go crazy with the landscaping. It's like figure out what you want to do with the space. Is it dining? Is it lounging? And focus on just one part of the space.
James, anything on that?
I mean, as far as things that I found is like an oasis. I mean, moving to LA, I have a yard now. I never had a yard, and I lived with Mel actually. That yard that you see on TV was my yard at one point, but I didn't have one for almost 4 years after moving, and it does change everything. It's like I spend every minute out there. I make content out there, and
His yard is gorgeous.
Should be. What? What'd you say?
It's gorgeous in LA.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. I mean, it's like 80 degrees right now. It's amazing. So yeah, it changes your whole outlook on life. But if you can't have an outdoor space, which not everyone can have, green up the inside or, become really close with someone that has a backyard.
Yeah, no, and I think Garrett and I are just going to have to leave New York and just come join you in Los Angeles, it sounds, right?
Amazing.
I'm debating it. I don't know what I'm going to do this winter, but if we have to go back into quarantine, I think I got to go.
Yeah,
at least for a little while, right? Like, how about us New Yorkers just come out and stay with you? We'll actually go camp out in your backyard, James.
I mean, hopefully we'll be filming our third season out here. Right. We haven't heard it yet, but that's the plan, is that we'll be filming it all in LA, and expanding the show here.
Yeah.
Perfect reason to go out there. Wait, so more in the backyard and the oasis component. I think that a lot of people don't consider enough times how important it might be to make your home another place of oasis or a sense of well-being for yourself when you do get off of work or a busy day of whatever you were doing. So when it comes to landscaping in general, whether it be outside if you have a backyard or inside if you don't, do you guys see the mental health and social benefits overall, and what would those be?
Totally. Well, yeah, I mean, we just find now, especially with COVID, all of our clients are like, we never wanted to do anything with the yard. We didn't spend much time out here. Now we want to put in 50 grand or 100 grand to like make it amazing, because who knows how long this is going to last, and we've got nowhere to go. So I think everyone is feeling that for sure. I think the value is really coming in now. People are really starting to understand that, like, you got to make a little outdoor restaurant in your own backyard. You've got to make an outdoor gym. You've got to make a place to have your Zoom calls, all that stuff. And it's imperative to like survival at this point.
Seriously, I mean,
I think it's going to be really hard for workers.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think anybody who lives in a city is congested, right? Any form of like congested lifestyle, whether you're in apartments or in just townhomes that are side by side, it's tricky. certainly is. Garrett, you were going to say too, especially as a New Yorker now.
Well, yeah, now that people aren't really traveling anywhere, people are looking to their yard as a place for their staycation spot. So it's like, how can they utilize every square inch of their property? So like James said, it's like the gym, it's the office, it's like to entertain. It's like this is it basically.
Yeah, especially right now because gosh, I can't tell you how many friends I have that are like, oh, I'm going to the backyard or I'm going on a walk. People are looking for the greenery in all this because sometimes the greenery means that they will then go to escape mentally to feel a little bit more at ease about everything. Because when you're cooped up in walls, it just doesn't make enough sense. But the next question I want to ask you both is from an interior design, exterior design, and I could use all the terms under the book that I don't even know how to use at this point. But as people who are designers, where does one really begin if I wanted to do this on my own in terms of building some form of landscape or what I call manscape, area of their home to then be that escape for them, especially during this time?
Well, we started our business by, and this is one of the mottos, and this is what our new book is about, really, it's taking the inside out. So it's like your personal style, your personal interior decor, maybe some items that you have. And if you have an outdoor space, bringing it out there. Even if your outdoor space is a fire escape, like Garrett said, take a small jute rug and bring it outside and throw a couple plants out there with some pillows and sit on the fire escape. You know, like it's small things like that that add so much value to your life. And that's kind of how we started. I mean, you know, in our yard in Brooklyn, we would bring house plants outside and bring out pillows and outdoor sofas and create these oases outside. And then slowly we started to incorporate more landscaping and then, so that's really how it started. But that's really our sort of philosophy, is really taking it outside. Become like a catchphrase of ours, like let's take it outside.
Or in Garrett's world, he took the outside inside, right? We're looking at, if you're listening, you can't see this, but if you're watching the YouTube clip, you'll see that Garrett brought plants inside his house. And so is there another area of it where we could do the opposite maybe?
Totally. I mean, and another thing is like James was just saying is like when we first started our business, every spring in Mel's backyard, we basically would come up with a new theme for the backyard. And this is something that we're still doing to this day, and we're writing about it in our book. It's like, you don't even have to have a green thumb to be able to make an outdoor oasis. You can just think about your favorite place. Like one year, our favorite place was Tulum. We were all obsessed with Tulum. So we basically just hung up a puka shell chandelier, painted a bunch of bamboo white, got some little palm trees, got a white picnic table, and then just like burnt copal all around the backyard. And we were like, okay, I guess the theme is Tulum this year. So it's just, just find something that you love and just try to translate that outside.
Have you guys found too that, I mean, this is your life we're talking, right? I think the Backyard Envy with the two of you and Mel really originated from the fact that this was your job. This was your full-time lifestyle. And so people like me who don't do landscaping as a full-time hobby, right? I would say hobby because it's turned into your career and lifestyle too, which is something we always emphasize on the show. But people who might be a little too busy, are there simple ways that they can kind of find ways to landscape and to build something inside or outside of their homes? Like simple ways to do so?
I mean, adding an herb wall inside of your home is a super easy thing to do, like put up 2 or 3 shelves and get some rosemary, basil, mint, sage, and just have an herb wall that you can use to make cocktails or, anything like that. Or if you really love green, hang like pothos plants in your kitchen or in your bathroom and start to like incorporate it that way. That's a great tip for the interior. If you have an outdoor space and it's all maybe concrete or something like that, throw some outdoor rugs outside and then slowly do container gardening, like bring out different sizes of pots. You can get them in cheap places like Home Goods or Target. Everybody has outdoor stuff now. and, you know, start there. Home Depot, even Home Depot and Lowe's have all that kind of stuff. And just, you know, slowly start there and start to find your comfortability with it. And then as you get more comfortable, slowly start to advance your hobby a little bit more.
Or sometimes for $0, if you've got like a weed jungle outside your door, just go outside and edit. That's a big thing we tell everyone to do, is just go out there, start chopping away, getting rid of all those weeds. And by the time you're done, you're going to be like, wow, this is actually much better than where I started.
There might be more of us that become landscapers out of this conversation than I thought, because it sounds simple, but people don't think about it enough. And I think, especially right now, we're starting to understand that it is becoming more important to focus on your mental health and to focus on the serenity in your personal life aside from work, should your work not be your lifestyle, for instance. And that's something that we found with the two of you. I would almost assume that your guys' favorite colors are green, even though James is wearing black and Garrett's wearing blue. What would you... all of us... My final standing question for the both of you has a lot to do with influence, and we touched on this at the top of the interview, but when you think about the positive and everything that you get to do day in and day out with the reality show and without, you know, there's a sense of positivity here with the fact that both of you not only turned your hobbies and interests into a career, but more importantly, you're getting to do it on a huge, broader scale now with the Bravo Backyard Envy and then your social accounts and everything that's to come with that. So we'll start with you, Garrett. When you think of the positive influence you do want to leave with fans, followers, and viewers of everything that you're getting to do right now, what is that?
I think one of the most positive things that I want to leave with viewers is that, you know, being gay on TV and being a landscaper, which is a predominantly straight male-dominated field of work, I just feel like when I was younger, I didn't have someone to look at that was gay and wasn't like the stereotypical gay on TV. So to be able to be that person on TV for a younger generation to look at, I hope is inspiring for people, because I just want people to see that you don't have to, you know, fit into this niche of what gay is. You know, you can be a landscaper, you can be so many other things, because one thing with TV is, like, for whatever reason, I think not as much at the time, I feel like it's starting to broaden more now, but like, especially just in the recent past years, it's like, if you're gay on TV, it's very much you have to be a certain way. So for me, I think that's something really important that I think is hopefully being passed on to someone else.
I mean, we're still designers, so.
We're still designers, but I mean.
Still designers. It's still a pretty gay career. Let's be fair. But, oh, you know, you with your pruners and
oh, come on.
Garrett, I'm kidding. My answer is I mean, I feel the same way. It's important. But yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So especially for you guys, could go back and forth all day, I could tell, right? I kind of just want to watch the two of you have a conversation where I mean, that's in especially in today's world that we're living in, where it should be accepted that you are who you are and you get to do what you get to do. And that's some reason exactly why my producers and I really wanted to bring the both of you onto this to the show, because we don't see a lot of that still today. And with the two of you and Mel, we were able to see exactly on Backyard Envy, you guys just doing what you love, being who you are, bringing those relationships into the show, and then authentically presenting that to the world. So I'd be, you know, I'd be deaf not to say you are today's men of the hour, the first ever double interview we've done, and
really?
which made sense for the title Men of the Hour. Usually it's one guy and it's Man of the Hour, but you two are the Men of the Hour, and we thank you so much for coming onto the show, giving us a little bit more of an insight into exactly not only what's been going on in your worlds and the show, because that's kind of launched your guys' careers to the very next level, but the two of you more as people, right? Because more importantly, you guys are humans first. right? Even if we're bi-coastal at this point, we look forward to season 3, to your point, James, of hopefully filming Backyard Envy in Los Angeles. But to the both of you, thank you so much again. Garrett, I'll call you soon and we'll do a toast in person in the backyard. Take that plant right behind you and we'll put it in the outside. And then James, we'll see you when we come to Los Angeles. But thank you so much to the both of you for coming onto the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So fun.
Justin Crawford here, and I'll be back next week with another great guest on the Men of the Hour podcast. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review right here and anywhere else you'd like to listen. Also, check out our Instagram and YouTube channels when you get a chance and see the full video interviews with our guests at Men of the Hour podcast. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and make a positive change for yourself and those around you.